The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18 plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
He's at war with woke.
Joe Concha
Thinks liberals are a joke.
Joe Concha.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And welcome everybody on this Friday night. Great weekend coming up here in the New York area. Not hot, not cold, not rainy, more importantly, not humid, even better. Because you know what they say about New Jersey. It ain't the heat, it's the humidity. And we're not going to have that either. So enjoy the weekend after last Memorial Day weekend, which was profoundly horrible. My kids had 9 games in 3 days in 2 different states. Mud, rain, 50 degrees, sideways, spit coming in your face. But not this weekend, thank God. Anyway, so Jill Biden wrote a book, and I don't get this. As far as if you're the Bidens and you're worth at least $10 million, you got beachfront property in Rehoboth, Delaware, you got another mansion in Wilmington, Delaware. Why at this point do you have to make money and write a book and embarrass yourself in the process? And in this case, fake doctor Jill Biden is now saying that she thought that her husband was having a stroke on stage at Georgia Tech, Atlanta, June 27, 2024, debate against Donald Trump. And then, well, the problem is that if she thought that he was having a stroke because obviously his brain had turned to applesauce at that point during that debate, and it ended his re-election campaign, ended his political career. That's basically his legacy. That night is the Joe Biden legacy. Why would you ever, as a wife, then say, hey, let's go to Waffle House and do a rally? Yeah, you know, syrup, butter, carbs from waffles. Yeah, that if I thought that my spouse was having a heart attack, I am pretty sure, at least a stroke, I'm not bringing him to Waffle House. I'm getting him to a hospital. But that's what Jill Biden did, unfortunately, and then said, and had the audacity to say, that her husband deserved 4 more years in office as president. And I always wonder, like, well, did she want that for her husband, Joe, or for Jill? Who was running the country? Because more and more it seems like Jill Biden and Hunter Biden were the ones that were behind the scenes, unelected, running this country, which is not a good thing. So anyway, she puts all this out there, and I just wonder, when you're worth all that money, why air this laundry in public where you say, what we saw that night in Atlanta, well, that was a one-off. That was something that I had never seen before from my husband. He's always been very coherent. Yeah, he's getting older and he's slowing down, but at the same time, I never saw behavior like that from him before. Okay, let's go through the list, shall we? Joe Biden used to go off stage and shake hands with the air. Joe Biden, after being in politics for 50 years, suddenly didn't know how to get off a stage. Joe Biden, as president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, couldn't remember his own cabinet member names. Joe Biden said he had conversations with world leaders who literally have been dead for years. And Jill Biden, closest to him, is saying that she didn't see any of this behavior, that this thing that happened at the debate was something that was totally new and foreign to her. Oh, give me a break. And oh, by the way, she also now in the book disagrees with her husband giving a pardon to her corrupt son in Hunter Biden. Oh, okay. That's great. Maybe you want to take that up privately with your husband. and not put it in a book so you could sell a couple more copies? When you're already worth, like, I've seen anywhere from 10, 20 million. The big guy, remember that? Made a lot of money. So why do you need a book at this point to embarrass yourself? But here we are. Anyway, let's get to the fun stuff, shall we? Oh, boy, there's so many different ways to go with our clips tonight. And as you know, I'm a big clips guy. Why don't we go down to clip 16? This is Ana Navarro, Republican strategist, yes, who gets paid by two networks. I can't get over the fact that ABC News and CNN pays this moron for her opinions when, again, my 10-year-old who doesn't follow politics can come to better conclusions than Ana Navarro can. Cut number 16, go.
What would you have said if you were her?
Joe, you did great. I mean, if it's your husband running for president, I think she was doing what a political spouse and what somebody supporting her husband. At that point, they didn't know if he was going to continue running or not. He was still running. I believe her because I think I believe her in this interview. I think Jill Biden is a truthful,
truthful person. Yeah, Jill Biden is the person that, again, one of the most intense, stressful jobs you could possibly imagine. President of the United States. She was willing to throw the old man out there for another 4.5 years after that debate, so she could hold on to her power, whether that's first lady, whether it's making decisions that decide the future of the country. Yeah, that's a truthful person right there. That's somebody that we absolutely should respect. Meanwhile, this is very, very hilarious on many, many levels. Here's Chris Coons before the Biden debate against Trump, June 27th, 2024, talking about how sharp this guy is in Joe Biden. And it's just so funny to play back now. I just love this so much. Let's do it again. Cut number 2, go.
Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No.
None.
A little slower.
If your core question is President Biden up to the job? Absolutely. And I don't hear a lot of coverage of the ways in which former President Trump makes very similar slips, mistakes, mishaps, fails to grasp who he's talking to or where he is. There's been a relentless focus in some news outlets on minor slips by our president that I frankly think are typical of anyone who's keeping a demanding 14-hour-a-day schedule.
Minor slips. And by the way, not 14 hours. Try 1.4 hours. Maybe Joe Biden worked on a daily basis. 40% of his presidency, think about this, was when he was on vacation, off days. He would leave on a Thursday afternoon for Delaware and not come back till Monday afternoon. And we're supposed to just excuse all of this now at this point? The Democrats own this completely and totally, all in the name of power, not in the name of what's best for the country. All right, screw it. Let's do one more. The condescending, utterly pious, insufferable Abby Phillip, CNN. Here she is, right before that debate. You know, the girl who knows everything, who needs to correct her guests all the time because she's always right. Here she is on cheap fake videos around Joe Biden because these things weren't real of him. Again, all the things I talked about before, stumbling up and down the stairs at Air Force One, falling down at graduation ceremonies like at the Air Force Academy. Again, having conversations with dead people, all fakes, according to Abby Phillip of CNN. Cut number 12, go.
The November choice is between two old men. We know that. But tonight I want to talk about the Joe Biden that Republicans want you to see and the pipeline of videos that aren't telling the full truth. Now, those videos are probably right now clogging the public consciousness as Americans start to think about their votes. The RNC wants to weaponize questions around Biden's age.
Yeah, the RNC is doing that. The whole country was doing that. It was so apparent. Forget the debate. Go back to 2019, 2020. I wrote a book. I wrote it in 2021, published 2022. Bestseller, thank you. About Joe Biden's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad presidency based on the entire premise that this guy, the elevator wasn't going to the penthouse at this point. And I gave all the examples of why I thought that. Not because I had inside information, knowledge sources, because I'm sane and sober and I can observe somebody when they are acting the way they are, the way Joe Biden did during the 2020 campaign. The media protected him because they hated Trump that much. Oh, meanwhile, let's get to some fun stuff here, shall we? The View. Speaking of The View and Ana Navarro. Nuts. This is an ABC News program. And yet now we have Whoopi Goldberg blaming Donald Trump for Ebola that's currently spreading through Africa right now. Trump is responsible for Ebola in Africa. I can't make it up. Cut number 22, go.
You know what's really bothering me? He's doing all of this. People are dying all over the world. Right.
Correct. Oh, yeah.
This Ebola thing is something
and with the
that
withdrawal of USAID also.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. When I look at all of the stuff that's happening around the world, I think to myself, what are you doing? This bounces back and bites you in the butt. When people are ill and they're traveling and there's a possibility of bringing it means people can bring it here too. Don't you understand? We do all the things we do in the world as preventative. And the laissez-faire kind of attitude, the disregard for just about everything and everybody.
I can't even get my head around how stupid that is. We're all now dumber for having listened to that. Donald Trump is responsible for Ebola in Africa. If they could blame anything on Trump, they will do it. Pineapple on pizza, you don't like that? Trump's fault. You got cancer? Trump's fault. Hurricane hits North Carolina? Trump's fault. That's the way that works. Anyway, before we go to break, let's play one more of a segment that I call The View is Nuts. There's no other way to put it. It's not very creative, but what can I say? Here's what I mean about how phony these people are. Whoopi Goldberg here has to read literally a card that is handed to her on set what Biden's accomplishments are. Now, when I go on Fox News, I'm prepared, but you don't see me like looking down and reading from a card because I can't do research myself or come to my own conclusion or have my own perspective. Here, Whoopi, you don't see it, but you could hear it here in cut number 19, literally has to read what her producers wrote for her. And that's the whole premise of this ABC News program, cut number 19, go.
Look, I'm sorry. I just want to point out what Sleepy Joe got done while he was asleep.
Oh, good.
He oversaw a historic economy that produced over 16 million jobs. He passed bipartisan infrastructure bills, revitalized NATO and rejoined the Paris Climate Agreement, codified federal protections for same-sex marriage, signed the most significant federal gun safety legislation in decades. That's what he did when he was asleep.
Okay. Again, most comprehensive. No one talks that way if you're just giving an opinion. She literally was reading from a card. And that's the way that show goes. All right, let's squeeze in one more, shall we? Because it's that good. And I love this, by the way. It's the best thing ever. Here we have Jimmy Kimmel blaming climate change on the California wildfires. Climate change. When every investigation has shown that arsonists are the reason why 17,000 homes were burned in the Palisades there. But nevertheless, he's trying to attack Spencer Pratt for running for mayor, of Los Angeles. The audacity of trying to fix the city. And then you're blaming climate change for those fires, which we know were caused by a guy who lit everything on fire and caused that. This is cut number 7, go.
So then you get a guy who was on a reality show, who's on a lot of reality shows. His profession is to be the screaming jerk on reality shows. And his house burns down. And even though he had no private insurance on his house and doesn't believe in climate change, he is understandably upset about his house burning down. And since he's a moderately famous person, he gets attention. He's on the news, he's on social media, and for the first time in his life, people are agreeing with what he has to say.
Oh. Right. So he wants attention, Spencer Pratt does. He doesn't want to fix the city. Right. That sounds right. Meanwhile, I'm sorry, let's squeeze this in. Here's Jimmy Kimmel, a little flashback, wishing death on anybody who did not get the COVID vaccine. Yeah, because he's a comedian, not an activist. Cut number 8, go.
Hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
Yeah, you don't get vaccinated, you deserve to die, according to Jimmy Kimmel, who I guess with Stephen Colbert, we're left with this clown. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. You're left with this clown as well for the rest of this evening on a Friday night. Back with so much more in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Welcome back, everybody. So, I have been compared, I don't know if you watch me on Fox, you may be hearing a voice right now and say, what does this guy look like? But think Michael Keaton back in late 80s, 90s kind of thing, as far as like hairline is concerned. Michael Keaton's older than I am, but I've been told I look like Michael Keaton, which I think is awesome. Anyway, here he is doing a commencement speech. And I think the guy is just a great actor and just a good person in general, and a great sense of humor, by the way. Because remember, before he became Batman, he did like Mr. Mom and a whole bunch of movies that were genuinely funny. Anyway, here's cut number 13, the great Michael Keaton. Go.
I've got one more thing to say, and it'll only take me a second. I've got 2 words that I want you all to remember. They're very important. And if I leave you with anything, I'm going to leave you with these 2 words. And those 2 words are, I'm Batman.
That's like Kent State. Meanwhile, he is Batman. And I love Christian Bale, and I love the Chris Nolan movies. Don't get me wrong, as far as Batman was concerned. Resurrected the entire franchise. But I think that Michael Keaton, when you look through all the Batmans, whether it's Keaton, whether it's Val Kilmer, the late Val Kilmer, whether it's George Clooney, no thanks, Christian Bale, and then the last guy who played him in some other movie, I think Keaton's the best, and this is why. Cut number 14, go.
Let me tell you about this guy I know, Jack. Mean kid, bad seed, hurt people. I like him already.
That's Jack Nicholson, by the way, of course, as the Joker.
Was he got sloppy, crazy. He started to lose it. He had a head full of bad wiring, I guess. Couldn't keep it straight up here. He was the kind of guy who couldn't hear the train till it was 2 feet from him. You know what happened to this guy, Jack? Well, made mistakes. And then he had this right shot. Now you want to get nuts? Come on.
Let's get nuts. See, I love that. That's great. That's perfect. Watch that again sometime. 1989. Batman with Jack Nicholson, by the way, as a Joker. Incredible stuff. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. Back with so much more in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And welcome back, everybody. So, Texas has this very interesting Senate race going on that we've talked about on the show before. It's Ken Paxton versus James Tallarico. Paxton, Republican, Tallarico, Democrat. Tallarico is weird. There's no other way to put it. This guy thinks that there's not 1, not 2, but 6 genders. Thinks that God is non-binary, and thinks that actually the church is really pro-choice, and the Bible preaches pro-choice, in other words, pro-abortion sentiment. All right. You want to, share that crap in places like Chicago, New York, Seattle, Minneapolis. That's fine, but this is Texas, and do not mess with Texas. And Beto O'Rourke, who was supposed to be like the next big star, who ran for 3 things. Ran for Senate in Texas, lost. Ran for governor in Texas, lost. Ran for president of the United States, and didn't even get to 2020 when he ran in the 2020 election. So now there's this new like Beto 2.0 James Tallarico freak, no other way to put it. Yeah. And he now is talking about different things that probably don't really align with Texas. And that includes, by the way, let's do, I don't know, cut number 10, where, well, James Tallarico has talked about over and over again that his campaign is a non-meat campaign, which in Texas, not a good idea. But nevertheless, now he's saying that, no, actually, my opponents are saying that I said something that I said, but I have the receipts on the other side. Cut number 10, go.
They're going to throw everything they've got at us. They've already called me a radical leftist. They've already called me a fake Christian. They've even called me a vegan. And those are fighting words in the state of Texas.
Yeah. Okay, let's get out of that, shall we, right there. We're good. Why don't we go to, all right, they called me a vegan. Those are fighting words in the state of Texas. All right, let's go to cut number 11, where this is the same guy saying this, and I'm pretty sure you sound like a vegan. Cut number 11, go.
I am proud to say that our campaign has officially become a non-meat campaign. So we are only buying vegan products from our local vegan businesses. Some of you may know Big Nona's.
All right. Again, we're proud to be non-meat. We only buy vegan products, but I'm not a vegan. All right. See how that goes in a place like friggin' Texas. You are screwed, my friend. Meanwhile, here is Stephen Miller, who is the deputy chief of staff to President Trump. And Miller, I may have shared this story on the air before. I was at the Easter egg hunt last year at the White House on the South Lawn, and you run into a lot of people there, obviously. And I see Stephen and, shake hands with him. I said, Stephen, you know what? And I have a totally serious look in my face. So he's totally buying what I'm saying. I go, look, I got some advice for you as far as like the way you should talk on TV and the way you should present yourself and the way in general that you should go about your business. And he's looking at me like he almost wants to punch me in the face at this point. I mean, not literally, but, he's just like, who is this guy? Who are you? I said, Stephen, you got to be more candid. You can't be so shy. Share what you really think. And then he starts laughing, like, and then his wife, Katie, was there as well. And we all had a good laugh about it. But I mean, that's the thing. Stephen Miller, you could agree or disagree with him. The guy is authentic. It's not an act. It's not like I'm going to be provocative on cable news in order to get clicks and, grow my political brand. No, this is how this guy actually feels. I truly believe that. He went to Duke. All right. Not perfect. Anyway, cut number 6, go.
Could we see another historical defeat in Texas? Because the Democrats have nominated James Tallarico, who to me just screams Texas.
Well, first of all, I think it is very bold. One could even say brave, courageous, that the Democratic Party would choose Texas, of all places, to nominate their first transgender Senate candidate, who's clearly transitioning into a female. When Tallarico goes in for a blood test, when he gets a physical, blood doesn't come out. Instead, soy milk comes out.
No.
This man has less testosterone than Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, my.
It is a mind-boggling choice. They would choose a person to run for that office who looks like he doesn't belong in the Senate, but in a cabaret show. Look, at the end of the day, I have a hard time believing that the people of Texas, some of the toughest, roughest, strongest men and women, the pioneer heritage, the frontier history, from the Mexican-American War through the Alamo and everything else, are going to choose somebody with that much soy to be a U.S. senator compared to a real conservative, patriotic, God-fearing, and truly beloved statewide figure in Ken Paxton.
That's the thing. I keep hearing over and over again. I think Mark Halperin, I think the world of Mark Halperin in terms of his political acumen, in terms of his ability to see things in advance. And he does a podcast now, obviously, two-way. And we've had Mark on the show before. But he's saying that this is something that a race in terms of Tallarico can win there. I don't see it. I'm sorry. I'm not, this isn't like, oh, I hope that Ken Paxton wins. I just look at things analytically. It's a state that Donald Trump won by 13 points. You're telling me that James Tallarico, the anti-meat soy boy who, again, has advocated for open borders, not good in Texas, the same guy who talks about God being non-binary and there being not one, not two, but 6 genders, that guy is going to win in Texas. I know Ken Paxton isn't the perfect candidate, but even if you half Trump's victory margin, if he won by 13, all right, then Paxton wins by 6. Want to sell me that? Fine. Want to tell me that Paxton wins by 4? Fine. But in the end, in that state, this candidate is not the right match. That is certainly for sure. Meanwhile, in Newark, New Jersey, home of the New Jersey Devils, my team, does not won a Stanley Cup, and it's starting to get a little annoying. 23 years, 2003, I was there, Game 7, Devils Ducks, 3-0. Jeff Friesen, 2 goals in that game. All right, enough. I go off on tangents, I'm sorry. But the point is that now in Newark, there's these ICE protests, which, in speaking to people that know this stuff, this is not organic. These aren't the people of Newark or even New Jersey that are doing these protests, where literally one protester got up in the face of an ICE agent and said, I know who you are, I know who your family is, I know who you live, where you live, and you are going to die. All right. They're all wearing masks. Why is that? Why is everybody wearing masks? COVID, that's been done for years. Oh, right, to hide their faces. Right, of course. It's like the Wild West all over again. But meanwhile, this is what's happening here. And Mikey Sherrill, my ridiculously inept governor here in New Jersey, will not condemn this stuff. And now you have protesters saying to ICE agents that they will hang. We got the video, we got the audio. Cut number 15, go.
Hang! You will hang! You will hang! You will hang!
You will hang? That's great. You think the governor would say, hey, we can't have that. Nope. She's on the side of those people who probably don't even live in New Jersey, were shipped in and paid for. There's no other explanation for this, but that's where we are in Jersey now at this point. Meanwhile, the UFC is coming to the White House in, let's see, about 2 weeks. So they're building like the whole steel cages and everything on the South Lawn. Plenty of room back there. Been there, as I said. But Abby Phillip over at CNN, she's got a real problem with this. Joy Reid 2.0. I mean, again, I don't understand how she gets maybe 550,000 viewers per night. We'll call it 6. Fine, I'll be generous. And Greg Gutfeld gets 4 times her audience, and somehow CNN just keeps renewing that contract because they think this person's a star. But again, the condescension here is dripping through your radio dial right now. Cut number 4, go.
Yeah, I mean, to your allusion to the gladiator combat, it is kind of giving like Last Days of Rome.
It
like,
feels that way.
You know, I don't know that that's really the imagery that people want to see when real people are actually worried about their day-to-day lives. They're very unhappy with what this White House is doing, what this president is doing. And then for him to have a triumphal UFC match outside of the White House, that by the way, the construction
to mark his birthday.
And the construction project that it has required to even put this together is enormous.
Can I just add one point, though?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, people want their lives to be better, so we shouldn't have a UFC fight at the White House? As if Trump concentrates on that on 24/7? He called Dana White and said, I'd love for you to do this here for the 250th anniversary of the country, and the rest is taken care of. It probably took maybe 4 minutes of the president's time. And again, the same Abby Phillip who talked about cheap fake videos and tried to defend Biden, which was indefensible, now has a big problem with the UFC at the White House to celebrate 250. What an absolute joke. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. We wrap this puppy up in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And welcome back, everybody. So when you make the argument around who was the greatest president of the 20th century, I think there is no question it was Ronald Reagan, just based on the facts. All right, forget Republican, Democrat. This guy inherited a horrible economy, and then the 80s were roaring. And we had low inflation. We had high GDP. We had low taxes. We had the Soviet Union come down without a shot being fired. And everybody was just in a really good mood during the 80s. I was kind of young, but I kind of remember that. The patriotism. You don't win 49 out of 50 states like Reagan did, and should have won 50. If he campaigned in Minnesota for 5 minutes against Walter Mondale, he would have won that state as well. But out of respect, because the guy had class, didn't do it. Yeah, that makes him the greatest of the 20th century. I can make an argument for Kennedy, but unfortunately, that resume was cut short by an assassin's bullet in Dallas, November 1963. The point is that I love playing Reagan clips on here because the guy, obviously, the Gipper, great actor. And during a time where TV was more and more important to your presidency, 1981, 1989, he understood that the power of the camera, the power of media, certainly can make you more popular than anything you put out in terms of a public statement or a press release ever could, as far as your record. Anyway, here is Ronald Reagan on wasteful spending, and I hope Mayor Memdani is listening because this is a clinic right here. Cut number 3, go.
What would you say if I told you about a study in which this was called the demography of happiness? And in this study, the government found out that young people are happier than old people. And they found out that people that earn more are happier than people that earn less.
Interesting.
And they found out that well people are happier than sick people.
That's good. Well,
this was $249,000 to find out it's better to be rich, young, and healthy than old, poor, and sick.
See, that's great. And that was Ronald Reagan with the great Johnny Carson. Meanwhile, Spencer Pratt, speaking of California politicians, celebrities that may want to go on to bigger things politically, he was on with my colleague Greg Gutfeld last night on Gutfeld, and was asked about, boy, you don't really have a lot of celebrities supporting you, and well, Spencer probably doesn't want that, and that's probably a good thing. Cut number 5, go.
What I've learned is I actually don't want celebrities to come out and endorse me. I don't want anybody to endorse me except for the moms and the animal lovers in LA. That's my entire vote.
Yeah.
Is that, so I'm cool if no celebrity ever endorses me. I actually love when the celebrities attack me because then I'm like, oh, I'm doing so well.
Yeah, if you got animal lovers on your side, right, and you don't have celebrities on your side, that probably is a good thing, even in Los Angeles. That's certainly for sure. So, and again, this primary is on June 2nd. That's next week. I think that there's an excellent chance that Mr. Pratt could go on to the general election, probably against Karen Bass. And if it's one-on-one, considering how horrible she is as a person, as a candidate, her approval rating being at 25%, the city being in the condition that it is, I know it's deep blue. I think in the end, I think Pratt, give it about a 40% chance of winning this, which I would have told you 0 for any Republican just even a couple months ago, because it's like New York. It's almost impossible for anybody who's not a Democrat to win. But Spencer Pratt is running a brilliant campaign, and we'll see where it goes from here. Meanwhile, you have to hear this. J.D. Vance, who again, I met at Mar-a-Lago New Year's Eve a year or two ago, and the guy is just genuine, down to earth, great sense of humor. You know, like if you heard the two of us talking, and I'm not being braggadocious, I'm just saying that we talked about our kids, and we didn't talk about politics in any way, shape, or form. And he's just the guy that he's on your softball team and the guy that everybody likes. That's the way I see J.D. Vance, and I think many Americans do as well. Here he is talking about how he's doing his job differently as vice president from his predecessor in Kamala Harris. And this is organic. That's the best part about this. Cut number 18, go.
You're doing the job differently than Kamala did it.
Well, I don't have, 4 shots of vodka before every meeting. That's one way I think that Kamala really tried to bring herself into the role is these word salads. And I think that I would need the help of a lot of alcohol to answer a question the way that Kamala Harris answered a question.
Well,
I mean, look, man, I don't know. My sense is, and this is a little bit of guesswork, obviously, I don't talk to Kamala Harris or Joe Biden very often, but my sense is that
I don't have 4 shots of vodka before. I mean, it's probably accurate. I mean, who are we kidding here at this point? Before we leave you, did you hear what happened at the Scripps Spelling Bee? This is incredible. This 14-year-old spelling bee champ. I can't put a whole thing because we're almost out of time, but give me 40 seconds of this kid spelling words I have never even heard before in a lightning round to win the whole thing. Cut number 9, go.
Toroni.
T-O-R-O-N-E.
Enthymeme.
E-N-T-H-Y-M-E-M-E.
Iguape.
I-G-U-A-P-E.
Denebola.
D-N-E-B-O-L-A.
Feidodo.
F-A-I-S-D-O-D-O.
Coathai.
C-Y-W-Y-D-D-A-U.
What?
Pohutakawa.
P-O-H-U-K-W-A.
What?
Monadnock.
M-O-N-A-D-N-O-C.
What?
Amut.
Oh, come on.
Nanofossil.
Nano-what?
Tongkang.
T-O-N-G-K-N-G.
Is that a person?
Nakatosh.
N-A-T-C-H-I-T-O-C-H-E-S.
That I know.
F-L-A-I-T-H.
Semele.
S-E-M-E-L-E.
Russell.
R-U-S-E-L-L.
Wow. I mean, 32 words in a very short period of time. 90 seconds, I believe it was. The poor runner-up spelled 25 words in 90 seconds, but didn't do it as quickly as that kid did. Imagine finishing second in this situation. Oh, man. Macintosh, that was the only one that I knew. All I know is that growing up, Charlie Brown was a great speller. And then he didn't spell beagle correctly, which was the name of his dog. Spelled it like bagel, I think, or something like that. And that was the irony. Charles M. Schultz was kind of cruel. Like, give Charlie Brown a victory once in a while. But I guess that was the theme to a certain extent. Anyway, this has been Concha at Night. We're back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And actually, we're not. It's Friday. Yay! I'm back 11 a.m. Eastern Time for the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Hope you tune in. Until then, I got 2 words for you. Bye.